software is fast. Hello. How's everybody doing out there? Peasant Chat, we talk to poor people. Peasant Chat, lots to talk about, especially with World Cup happening. I don't know if it's still happening right now. I kind of checked into the Flow Racing feed real quick, which just mind blows me that they haven't really gotten that situation straightened out, which is just going to open the door for some fuckface better streaming service to go in there and then literally guarantee I'll never bother to watch any live streaming event. Today, we're going to talk about the 6R80 no longer being a handicap. A lot of people can use, I guess they used to rely on the 6R80, leaning on the 6R80 being a handicap, but the fact that Jacob Power by the Hour and Lund Racing have made this transmission go 420s in the 8th mile at 177, 648 in the quarter at 219. It's over. The days of saying, oh, well, it's got a 6R80, so you got to cut me a break. It's over. Just like what happened with 400s. I'm sure for a very long time back in the day, you only could find 400s that came from stock vehicles, and then you can build those guys. And then Reed came out, made a case, and now racing, and just it kind of like re-kicked the building process for the Turbo 400 once badass cases came about. And I think the similar thing is going to happen with the 6R80. We could talk about that. We could talk about Lund Racing running a personal best. Unfortunately, John Sr. red lit on E1. Had it covered, no problem. But obviously, got a little antsy and red lit. But I like the fact that he stayed in it just to see what the car was able to do. And it ran a 648 at 219. We'll talk about that. We can talk about stick shift racing. We could talk about all the shenanigans and we could talk about some SEMA stuff, because I do have some thoughts about this weekend landing on two big events. And I'll be honest with you, my feed was full of SEMA stuff. And that was more relevant to me than the racing stuff, because let's be honest, we deal with people that are not that fast. If you're running bottom 8s or 7s or quicker, you're not using many parts that people like me, calibrators, are seeing customers use. So we'll talk about the relevance of that type of racing and SEMA stuff, but not before Mr. Bill O'Reilly tells us to do it live.
Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
It does suck. Man, I have been up for a long time. This time change is still not settling with me, but gotta keep chugging along. PMAS, Nick Games, PMAS, best cold air intakes, best MAF sensors, best bell mouths, filters, you name it. They even make MAF sensors for Fox body stuff. But check out Nick James, PMAS, Nick James. He had a good week over at SEMA. Nice to see him get out and about and get recognition. Don't Got Cookies, Don'tMyGotCookies.com. I want to thank them for providing $25 gift cards for the people that do not win the blower. I'm also going to give them richprince.com stuff. So check out Don'tMyGotCookies.com. A hot chick makes cookies. That's all you need to know. Buy some cookies. DNAPformance.com. You're going to buy all your new parts here, your turbo kits, your supercharger kits, your fuel systems, your injectors, your wheels, tires, anything and everything you want to buy that's brand new. Go to DNAPformance.com. YDBT at checkout. You get yourself 10% off or something like that. Or 5%. I don't know. A decent amount. Parts Farm. PartsFarm.com. Used Mustang, F-150, Camaro, Charger, anything late model, cranker pallets, complete Power by the Hour swap kits, and control packs. Check him out. PartsFarm.com. He pays his bill on time, so I definitely mention him every single time. Toyota Solution, Rami Zana on Toyota Solution. He is in Puerto Rico building a lot of late model cars. He is fucking with the S650 Heavy, and he's finding out that it sucks. And I was like, yeah, no shit. Been telling you guys for a long time. Now you're finally coming around to that thought process. Toyota Solution. And Balak Industries. He was at World Cup. He's been at World Cup for many years, and I didn't know that. I was like, oh, you're going to go to World Cup? Because I go to World Cup all the time. And I'm like, maybe you'll find some Felax in some of the BMWs, because BMW guys seem to be the new Mustang guys. Gay and cheap. richprince.com/YDBT. You're going to go there. You're going to buy some merchandise if you want to support the show. You're going to get yourself some hats. Hats, hoodies, shiesties, flat brim, Section 8 shirts and hoodies, Hush Money shirts and hoodies, ZR50 shirts and hoodies, Booty Juice shirts and hoodies, Lotto Juice shirts and hoodies, Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, 350, 85 to 86, 87 to 93, all the goodies, 1320 Didios, stickers, check them out. Also, consider becoming a Patreon sub. If you're sick and tired of going to the forums and listening to absolute bullshit, I'm telling you, there have been so many great articles, Radioactive Fabrication drops stuff about building, welding. Slow 99 will, find someone like a long lost family member, find out where they work. I like that shit. I like the fact that we have really tight, high knowledge base followers on the Patreon side of things. Let's say hi to the people here, and then we'll get after it. Monty 540, J Swish, Rich, Laminate, J Swish, Nardi Mercado, he has been a menace. Douche did it, fucking Shinebox, Roland, Allen Jr., Wesley Stewart, Nick Notch, B. Levesh, Bryson Witt, Clint Stroke. Clint Stroke sent me a message the other day. Look, I appreciate the people that try to add to the show, but leave the comedy to me. D-Rock Fox, D33, Camzilla, John Bonanno, Coyote Kelly, Jay Sikorsky, TJ Sikorsky, Clean out of TGT, Cobra, Josh Warner, Rick Whedon. Craig Wall said, good morning, everyone. Sorry I couldn't represent better this week. Track on away while we were waiting for all the fires and wrecks. That's the other thing that I noticed, and I'll talk about World Cup in a little bit. I am blown away at the lack of professionalism from a lot of the racers. Not the track, not anyone that we fuck with. I'm just blown away. Been a rough week, really, with a couple of highlights. Yeah, well, I think maybe you should start considering why the fuck are you doing this at all? I guarantee, Craig Walls, and maybe you're not there yet, I didn't have to go through the $100,000, $200,000 builds, motors, transmissions to realize, why the fuck am I doing this? Maybe you love it. Who knows? I guess Bryson Witt is selling his T56 because he figured out that launching a drag radial with a stick car is not good unless you have a slipper clutch. Robo Style, Rudy Bucala, Killer, myself, Big Guns, Alfredo Diaz, Mustang Dennis, Candice Lupus, Bryson again, Yusuf, Fast Rider, Christian Sama, Yusuf again, JD Swag, Matt Oliver, Mark Christensen, 50 Stallion, Joseph Lacey, Jake J, 50 Stallion, Ken McAllister, Frosty 50 a couple of times. Let's talk some shit. Okay, so thanks guys now. What's it say here? Thanks guys now? What do you mean? John Lund says 6R80 cited in WCF pits dragging Turbo 400s by their tail shaft. And he's not wrong, because when you see what John Lund and the crew was able to do over there is really special. So I'm going to show you two runs. And these two runs, you need to understand what they represent in this context. So this is his 655 pass, volume warning in case you have headphones in. Check out Mr. John Lund. So you know what I'm noticing? Oh my God, why, what's happening? Jesus Christ. Number one, I like that the 275 is back there. So don't ever remove the 275 from that car, ever. No 285, no 315, that gear ratio, that tire, that car lives on a 275. I understand math and all that. This is it. This car just is telling you, hey, stop putting different tires in my shit. We need to stay on the 275. So look at the slip. 11560, which for this car, I don't want to say it's soft, but it's definitely not aggressive. This car has been 1.0s before. 433/8, 655, 219, tickling 220. That is so freaking legit. Then later on, they were able to go a little quicker. I want you to look at the slip first. 113 60 foot, they got a little more aggressive. 426, way into the 420s. 177 miles an hour in the eighth. This short can be improved on. Again, this car has been 109 in the 60 before. So 113, 288, 420, 177, 648. He just got a little antsy on the tree, but you know what? I don't blame the dude. We're racing. Look at the amount of people. It's a badass event. But again, this car needs to live on this 275, but he got a little antsy, but I'll show you the run anyway so you can get your visuals in. Whoever took that video, thank you. I don't know who that was, but goddamn, the camera work, I am just a huge fan. I'm going to watch it again. So I noticed a couple of things that right off the bat, right? So if you listen to that car get down the track, when it had a stock computer, it would be a very specific sound that the car would make going down the track. And it hit me the other day because I was actually doing A to B testing on the videos. So forgive me, I'm going to make car noises. But when it had a stock computer, it wouldn't vary in RPM that much. It would launch, shift, and then the converter would bear down. So it'd go whoop, then it'd go out the back. Now with Motec, you hear woo. I'm like, oh, traction control. It sounds like traction control is interfering in a good way. It's going forward, it's propelling, so you can hear very subtle RPM drops that previously you would have thought were shifts. Previously you would have thought were converter coupling, uncoupling, blah, blah, blah. But it sounds like to me that the software, the Motec, is doing a really good job of keeping the tire planted and going forward. But it's a 1320 clip. I don't think it's a 1320 clip, is it? If it's a 1320 clip, I will absolutely erase that from the shit. But I think it's a guy, it's either Devin or someone else, but it's definitely not a 1320 clip. But I'm happy that they were able to go there, even though unfortunately their weekend wasn't, what they wanted it to be. It absolutely shows you that that car belongs. It belongs there. It absolutely belongs in the Warriors class, because there are some cars that next year are going to be kicked out of that class. Cars that are going 6'1", cars that are going 6'1", at Warriors, they're going to be like, yeah, you need to be, 295 or whatever the fuck they hot rod versus whatever, the faster class, because I think Warriors is like a 30 to 60 class or a 30 to 70 class. So it's nice to see that the progression at 3,200 pounds. Understand, guys, the Grey Goose weighs 3,200 pounds. Most cars in that field that are really getting after it, I'm sure a little lighter, but they probably have smaller turbos, da-da-da-da-da. So I think it was very nice to see the progression of the Grey Goose, the progression of the 6R80, the progression of one specific part that has now become not able to be used as an excuse as to why you should be somewhere. The 6R80 that Jake Jr., Sr., and everyone has vetted is pretty special, and you can pretty much put it as an option for being Billy Badass if they're running 420s with it. So it'll be interesting to see if something like this ends up like let's say the Grey Goose is next. The Grey 3320 across the scales. Holy shit. The car weighs 3,300 pounds. It runs 420s and then 640s. I'm sorry. That's crazy. That's crazy. And it tells you how good the motor is, how good the transmission is, how good everything is being vetted. I really like the fact that they're progressing nicely. But now what we're going to see is potentially not using that as an excuse anymore. Well, it's got a 6R80. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's like saying back in the, 70s, it's got a shitty 400. Well, now that we're reed cases and billet valve bodies and billet internals and badass pumps and crazy advances with dump valves and all this shit, you can't really use it as a handicap anymore. So I think once, let's say, somebody gets super serious and starts making an aftermarket case for the 6R80, I think it'll just go to the next level, because I think the 6R80 is at that weird spot where the Turbo 400 was, I want to say maybe in the 90s? Or maybe, maybe in the 90s or early 2000s, when did the reed case get introduced? Because it is a Billy Badass strengthened case, and anyone has a reed case 400, some kind of Rossler with a reed case or a RPM with a reed case. Like the reed case seems to be the base. So I think somebody should, but the investment is massive, right? The investment is ridiculous. Similar to what Joe did with the billet Coyote, right? He went to Billet Noonan, to Noonan and said, I need a billet version of this. And well, it's going to require this much money. What kind of clamping force do you want? What kind of, what do you want as features built into that situation? I think a similar conversation is going to happen with if and when somebody decides, okay, do we really want to do this? Now, why would someone build a billet or a strengthened 6R80 case? Honestly, Probably for overdrive racing shit, or if certain drag and drive, because you're seeing drag and drives. By the way, the most impressive car in the whole event to me was that Bill Lutz guy with the blower Camaro. He was talking about the fact that he had 2 overdrives in the car and did not change the 8th mile gear setup. He just added more overdrives, and I'm like, boy, that's badass. And I still think he holds the ET radial record, whereas Homeboy owns the mile per hour record. But it was really interesting to see his thought process on that. But if drag and drives become a thing and you have stock computer, electronic, stock ECU controlled 6R80s with an aftermarket case that can hold 2,500 plus horsepower, and the internals not really have, stress out that much, I think that's something to look at, because I think we're at that weird zone where the 6R80 can go to the next level by having a strengthened case. Now there are other vehicles that came with other 6R80 variants that have maybe potential, because certain vehicles came with 6Rs that you can look at and be like, oh, maybe try this case. Maybe they did something here that they didn't think here, da. So a lot of that vetting has to take place. But I think it's going to be a net positive. But that's at the limit. That's at the top tier. Everybody else, I'm saying 8s and slower is what matters. And I hate to put it to anyone this way. That's what matters. Because at the limit, at the top, I don't look at anybody at World Cup and go, that's relevant to what I'm doing. It's irrelevant to what I'm doing, not only business-wise, but hobby-wise. Do you think I want to build a car at that level? No. 1, stupid expensive. 2, for what? 3, no. It's not enjoyable. I would rather drive my car to the track, run an 850, 80, 79, drive it back. That's a flex with AC, with a sound system, and just be a happy cat. So I think the 6R80 stuff can be made to be robust, but I don't know that at the highest percentage people that are racing with a overdrive transmission want to do stuff at that level. But the fact that you can shows that it's possible. But again, what's that cost? What's it cost to have a Billy Badass 6R80 that you can drive to the track, run 7s or 6s, and then drive it back home? Are people willing to spend $20,000, $30,000 on a transmission? I don't know, because Ford guys are goofy like that. Now let's talk about World Cup generally. I found myself not being glued to the TV like I used to, and I think it's because my thought process changed on racing. I don't really follow racing in terms of like being into it, wanting to get into it, being passionate about it, because I've always said that none of those people are my peers, right? None of the people that race I feel are my peers, because we don't have anything in common. But the more I look at it, the more I go, wow, why do people do this? So I thought everyone at that level was like the top tier professional type situation. I am blown away that people at that level hear something audibly go wrong with their car and continue to drive down the track during qualifying. Eliminations, I 100% understand. Staying in it until this sucker does a Chernobyl. I don't care that there's graphite outside of the reactor. Okay? I don't care. I'm going to stay in it. So when you see someone in qualifying blow up and then just like get off, they don't even get off to the side. They just coast all the way down. I go, none of these people are professional. Right? Right? When you see that, you go, wait a minute, that car's a badass car. That car's been this time that I'm like, is it just fear of being pushed? Sometimes they break so early in the run that they can be pushed back and out of the way quicker than going all the way down the track. So all of these spills made it unwatchable, like very unwatchable, to the point where I would click on, like I would just be, out and about, and I turn it on. I'm like, they're cleaning again. They're cleaning again. They're cleaning again. But some of the racing was pretty badass, and I saw Craig Walls run twice, and I was very happy to see the Amory sticker in the back of that thing. Shout out to you. Appreciate you very much. But early weekend for the Lunds, but I think they progressed the program to the point of maybe having the confidence of running over 60 psi a boost, shooting for a harder, 60 foot, staying on the 275. So maybe by the time that winter comes around, which is pretty soon, they'll hit up some rentals and they'll shoot for a 419, a 639, and eventually you're going to have to come to a crossroads, right, with the Grey Goose. Do we go 4-link with the Grey Goose? Let's talk about what my thought process is. And it doesn't matter because I have no input in that situation. That's all junior and senior. But I'm going to tell you what I, as an outsider, would do. 4-link, right? Long arm. Because the amount of travel and separation the really fast guys are running, I don't think you can achieve with a 3-link. That top arm is going to be just like hanging out for dear life because it's a single big control arm in the front. So 4-link. Because the Blue Goose, I think, is a year and a half to 2 years away from going down the track. So for a year and a half or 2 years, what are you going to do? Get the car lighter, back half the car. 4-link, long arm. Stay on the 275 and then see if you can get that car to be 2,800 to 3,000 pounds, which is 300 pounds lighter. Yes, the Grey Goose is still 3-link. It does not have 4 big ass. It is 3-link. 1 big massive control arm on the top center of the diff, and then 2 normal sized, but it has like a wishbone situation where it allows separation to happen. So if I end up going, if I was to spitball what should be next, I think 4-link and lighter, because I think that can be achieved quicker in the off season than by the time Blue Goose comes online. I think Blue Goose coming online is going to be 2027 or something like that. By the time you test it, you buy the motor, you build it, you turbo kit, I think you're going to be still racing the Grey Goose for a couple of years. If they still want to go racing. And streetcar class, they're gone. 420s in the 8th. No one is going to allow you in the streetcar class. Sorry. You guys have made yourselves too fast, which again, it's a great thing. It's great progression and it's great to see. But World Cup kind of highlighted a couple of things to me that it's irrelevant to what I want to do, but I will still support it because my boss supports it. My boss goes there. If my boss wasn't going, if Lund Racing wasn't going to World Cup, I wouldn't watch a second of it. Stick shift racing to me is still irrelevant. Also, every time I see a stick shift class, I just check out because it's not, to me, in the spirit of what I think stick shift racing is. And again, irrelevant. So the faster and the more tech happens on those things, the less relevant it is to us. Because how many of us here, besides Craig Walls, run in those classes or can run in those classes? And the vast majority of people I deal with every day are regular schmoes. So if it's a business thing, I would rather deal with the people that are 7s and slower than anything else. I don't care about being Billy Badass. I don't care. I don't care. I care about making money and putting it in my pocket. That's what I care about. So I think at the end of the day, the 6R80 having a strengthened case is a good idea for guys that are 7s and slower, because if you're running out of cases, because I think that's going to happen, right? Like you can't find cases anymore. So now you're going to have to go to another transmission like the 8HP and develop that and see how far you can go with that before that case starts to show issues. So, I think this is a good problem to have because you're progressing. Jake is progressing, the Lunds are progressing. They're going to basically run themselves out of certain leagues like the streetcar. Like streetcar elite, I don't know if streetcar elite will allow Brett didn't run streetcar at TX2K, right? He ran like the 275 something. Yes, SVT mile an hour, I'm telling you, there is okay. Let me get Craig Walls' comment, because I think Craig Walls' comment is coming from a place where I understand what he's going through. Again, I'm never going to race at your level. I'm slow, blah, blah. I get it. This is great. It's the same thing like living in the Northeast. When you live in the Northeast, you Springtime comes around and it's a brisk 65, 55 to 65. You're like, this is perfect. Summer comes around, okay, it's a little hot. Fall comes around, okay, and then you get the absolute shit that is winter, which is 6 months long, like November to April. And then you go, why the fuck do I live here? I think the same thing is happening to Craig Walls with World Cup. I get excited, here we go, and then you're like, well, this is the excitement. Wait in line for a day to get in, get teched in, start racing, and then you are in the same track as Puerto Ricans. I avoid Orlando Speed World for that specific reason. You want to see World Cup every weekend? Go to Orlando Speed World. If somebody, it's a cleanup after cleanup, prioritizing. I just don't want to deal with it. I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, call me weird, call me elitist, call me whatever. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to see them. I don't want to see, and not just Puerto Ricans, just people who are okay just having like hodgepodge builds and not understanding track etiquette. The moment you're going down the track and the car goes boom, pull off to the left or right ASAP. Don't look at your gauges. Don't go like this. By the time you're doing that, you're already all the way down the track and you've greased up the whole track. So, boom, safely. The track guy was going, oh, thank God. But this is what, most people do. You're already all the way down the track. That's 8 seconds of you looking at gauges. Meanwhile, there's a big puff of smoke out the back, and I'm like, why do I come here? Why do I come here? And burn downs. Why did you drive 1,000 miles just to not stage? I am one of these weirdos. That I have etiquette. I think fairness is great. I don't need to play mind games. Again, I get it. I'm not a fast racer. Stage, courtesy stage, you put your shit up. I want to race you and see who's quickest. I want to race you and see who reacts better at the light. I want to race you and see who built the better car. I don't want to have to beat you playing mind games, because if you resort to that, you've already lost. If you drive 1,000 miles just to not stage and have staging duels, you're goofy. Again, why I don't fuck with that anymore. Craig Walls, I think you're this far away from selling your whole program and wonder why the fuck you do this at all. Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever sat in a rocking chair? I get it, we're at that age. You ever sat in a rocking chair and go, why the fuck do I do this? Like, I'd love to get into stick-shift racing, but what does it take to be a competitive stick-shift racer anymore? A fucking strain gauge, a Blackmagic $8,000 clutch, a $25,000 transmission, and the same cage, chassis, and power level that the Lunds are at. That the 420s, mid-6s are quicker, but with a stick shift. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not fun anymore. And then, yes, I'm getting there. I watch these gassers run low 9, high 8, but they're clutching in and being men. And the guy has 2 carburetors on the bitch and a 871 or something. Blah, blah, and he's clutching in. And I'm like, that's badass. That's badass. Could you imagine you're a stick shift racer and you got a strain gauge, Blackmagic clutch, all this bullshit, and then you complain that someone has maybe some technology that's a little better than yours? I'm like, what? Bro, he just has better technology. Imagine you're an old school clutch kicker and you hear a guy shifting and it sounds like he's not clutching in. You just see a flame in between the shift and you're like, wait, he's even clutching in? No, I got a strain gauge. Strain gauges are allowed. Stop allowing strain gauges to be allowed. Stop allowing strain gauges to be used. Clutch kick. Oh, that's gay. Okay, cool. People like me don't care. And you're only cool to the people that want to do that shit. But the vast majority of people, Like the biggest percentage of people that fuck with fast cars see that and they go, I don't care. How is that any different than nudging the shifter forward on a turbo 400 twice? Stop it. Or the computer does it for you. Oh my God. Those are the exact same fucking guys that don't put up their shopping cart. Smooth brains walking down the middle of the road with their face stuffed in their phone while I'm trying to push my car back into the trailer. You'll get there. Craig, are you younger than me? I'm 47. Maybe you'll get there. It's because they got Bad Bunny playing in the loud in their helmet. That's what turned me off from going to the track. Spent more time watching tractors running up and down the track than I did making passes. Alice, as a fellow Puerto Rican, it's okay to say I have Puerto Rican fatigue too. I can say it because I am one. I am fatigued with the type of Puerto Rican that races at these tracks. I just can't deal with them. I can't be, and that's not to say that white guys aren't the same. There are some hillbilly, redneck, it all races. But at that event specifically, when I was watching the Flow Racing feed, you know how many times I saw this? Who the fuck are you doing that to? Forget disrespectful. And this is what happens, right? Let's say you meet a guy that doesn't give a fuck and he's a crash out, like a crazy crash out. And you start doing this after you beat him and he beats you up. Are you going to blame him? I wouldn't blame the guy that reacted to you being disrespectful. I would blame the guy being disrespectful. So when I see Flow Racing and they're panning to the audience and everyone is doing this just because the guy has an American flag or a non-Puerto Rican flag, I'm like, why the fuck? Why is this event a thing? And then I remember, oh, I don't want to be involved with that shit anymore. And I don't go there and I won't go there. And I'm happy about it. I'm really happy about there is no better feeling than having an event go on like that, seeing all the bad shit going on and going, I made the right decision by not going to that. Again, the only reason I watch is because John Lund goes. But I'm not going in person ever to any event. That shit is done. That was the most annoying part to me was the burn downs. Coyote swap I don't think he'll ever coyote swap that car. That car went 6'2" or 6'1". I just think that class, boy, that class is going to be interesting. Warriors versus Tres Cuarto, because I thought we were too fast for Street Fighter, which was proven, and now we're right in the middle of it on Warriors, like right in the thick of it, in the middle, as fast or faster than these Toyota Starlets and RX-7s. So I think they're in the perfect spot, but I think they have to stay at that weight. There's like a minimum weight. I think if you get the Grey Goose down to 3,100 pounds in 4-link, oh, bro, bitch will go 4-1, 4-0. Come on, stop it. The way it sits with the 6R80. Shifting once. My next car project is going to be a manual because I need to learn to drive a stick. Alfredo Diaz. The moment the kill the strain gauge, half the stick shift racers are out because they can't drive. That is interesting. You'll be 48 next month. Craig Walls, we're really close in age. My birthday's in January. So you're 1 month older than me. Okay, so do any of you think someone shifting with a strain gauge is gangster? Look, 5-0 Stallion, you need to understand where I'm coming from. I have worked events for many years. I have been to many events. I've crewed at events. I have seen this. The only type of event that I want to go to and participate in is something that is like True Street, because I don't know. I just think it fits what I do, and in terms of relevance, right? Let's say I work for Lund Racing. They tune cars that are street cars, 99.9% of them. Like the amount of 7-second cars compared to the amount of 9 to 10-second cars, it's not even close. Like there's like 0.001% of our customer base can run 7s. So if 99% of the people are slower than that, who do you think I'm going to cater to specifically? Those guys. Because you can always have new guys doing that. Rarely does someone go all the way because, 1, it's expensive. 2, you have to be mentally ill. You have to be mentally ill to spend $200,000 on a car. Do you know how many cars I see on Facebook Marketplace and on Bring a Trailer and all this stuff where they literally built the whole car and they're already tired of it. Car's done, double frame rail, billet this, Mark Williams that, you know? And then it's like, for sale. Why? It's just stupid. Why? Because after every 40 passes, I got to take the engine apart. for a $25,000 bill. So that means I can run maybe 4 events a year. And then when I get to the event, someone protests me. You know, you got to have this shot jet. You got to have this size turbo. You can't have this weight. You can't be this. So you're like, what the hell did I build? So then you got to look at why you're doing it. Why are you racing? Do you own a business that deals in that kind of racing? Yes or no? No? Why are you doing it? It's fun. Is it fun to get 40 runs in and then have to tear it apart for $20,000? See, it's cool from the outsider's perspective, but I've been there. I've seen what it takes, and I said, this ain't for me. This ain't for me. This is crazy. I think at the limit, a 1,500 horsepower car is more than enough. A 7-second car is more than enough. And anything beyond that, it becomes a nightmare. It becomes like, why are you doing it? It becomes ego. Unless you have a business tied to that. Now, Jake probably looks at it and goes, look, we're building 6-second 6R80s. And I'm like, yeah, how many of your customers are running 6s in a 6R80? 3. So then you go, what are we doing? I looked at it as I want to support what I'm passionate about, and it is the fast street car. Many times you see these guys sell these Billy Badass builds, want a street car, will trade for twin turbo Coyote, will trade for 2,000 horsepower street GTR, will trade for twin turbo Audi R8. Nobody ever says, I want to sell my double frame rail $150,000 car for another one that weighs 100 pounds less so I can fit this class. Those ignition cuts are hell on motors. See Atkins, but I get it. 6-shift street car is most fun I've ever had. The Flow YouTube channel and the comments, everyone like I'm calling ice. As a black man, I have black fatigue as well. I get it. Craig is a wang half, for sure. Here in Carolinas, it's the Hillbillies and AutoZone put together builds that hold down the track half the night. See that stuff and just switch over to watch some chiropractic adjustments. Same. Dang, Alex, no events ever. You got to understand what I've gone through. No, but at the same time, it's still not the same as the 400. They still miss shifts and break dogs. Ignition cuts are hell on the motor. See, I can gotcha. Craig, I thought Craig was in there. Puerto Rican syndrome, doing something to provoke just a reaction and claim victim to dodge your own accountability is very common. So let's say you beat a starlet and you just go all in online, do what they do. They don't like it. They think it's fucked up. And they'll say something like, well, we're just coming from a small island in Puerto Rico, so you got to give us respect. Last time I checked, you're part of the United States. So stop saying you're in a little island, okay? You're part of the United States. You're part of this big, massive, the best country in the world. So stop saying, oh, because we come from a little island, we deserve a little levity because we've come far. No. The shit you fuck with is U.S. heavy. And if you don't have U.S. subsidizing your shit, where the fuck you at then? Strain gauges take away appeal from the driving stick, in my opinion. Again, we're talking about specifically... Okay, how many of you guys on the chat watch racing at that level and want to build a car at that level? Let's be honest here. How many of you want to build a 6-second car, knowing what it takes? Because you might have thought you knew what it takes, right? You thought you could get a set of ID 2000s, twin turbo kit from Hellion, 6R80 with a billet planetary, and just turn the boost up and run 6s and then just drive it the rest of the year. No. If you want to run 6s consistently, you're taking that motor out every 50 passes. You're taking the transmission out every event. You're probably rebuilding the rear end every 10 passes. Do you want to do that? It is a massive amount of money and time and effort. So when you see, and then you got to have the mechanical aptitude to make that happen. Senior, I can look at Senior and go, Senior and Ryan mostly built that car. Yes, the chassis work goes to chassis guys, but when we're talking about the electronics, we're talking about all this stuff, I'm like, Senior and Ryan built that car. Okay? Senior built a big tuning company, did really well, handed it off, not really 100%, but he's still running the show. But mostly he's like, I'm just going to build fast cars and fuck with this. This is my retirement. Fuck it. And I'm like, I get it. But he had to build that. So what do you think it takes in terms of time, ability, money know-how, tuning. Like he needs to know all that stuff. A lot of you guys don't have that. I don't have that backing. If I wanted to build a 6-second car today, who do you think in South Florida would help me do that? Go ahead. It'd be all me, and then I'd be driving all over the U.S. to get the chassis work done here, the motor built over there, scaling over here, transmission built over there, and then, I'm going to go to the track and make it run sixes. With who? It requires a huge team effort. No, thank you. I'm good. No, not at all. Exactly. No. I have more fun in my low 10-second, 9-second stick car than I ever had in any other vehicle. Maybe I'll just push it further one day, but for now, I'm happy. Look. I guarantee Craig has more fun getting in his S351 Sunday morning from grabbing, I don't know if he's got kids, taking his kid to get a donut and a coffee and head to the car show. Park it, put the hood up, walk around, see friends. What's up, man? Oh, car's looking good. What you do? Tough week, you know. I had to bury a couple of bodies, you know. Fucking the Genovese's told me that I need to bury a couple of bodies, but hey, you know, it's $100,000 a pop, so no big deal, right? I just ran one through the wood chipper and it took care of that, you know, and it sealed the driveway really nice. Wow. And then gets back in his car, comes back and he goes, today was a good day. And then he watches football. Then he watches the Baltimore Ravens get their ass kicked or whatever the fuck. So, you know, like, I'm like, okay. Or does he pack up his car, go to the track, avoid hitting Puerto Ricans, getting into the trailer, have to wait till midnight to make a second qualifying pass? Crazy. What's the plan for the white car? Donnie has to get to the track. Now, Jake wants me to take the transmission out and send it to him. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Because he's like, I want it to have the Billy Badass stuff. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I just want to drive it. As the uneducated normie, when I started watching your show, my opinion quickly changed. Radioactive, I am, but it represents. There you go. See, that's different. Radioactive runs a business where it is incumbent upon him and his interests to build 6-second or 4-second or 3-second eighth mile cars, 6-second quarter cars. Totally get it if you are in that business. But if you're not in that business, why are you doing it? Not one motherfucker. Wait, hey, Craig, is the event over? What happened? Did it rain? Or are you out and you're just spectating today? Building at the level, it's just fun to watch. I'm about fast as fuck as I can daily. Okay. No, I'll watch clips, but I'm building a 200 horsepower car and I enjoy it instead. I agree. No, I miss the old NMRA and 4 weekends from the 90s. That is what I want to fuck with. And people go, what about 8 second? Build an 8-second stick shift car with a diaphragm clutch that you can drive home. Why not? That is fun. And if the GT500 busts off hell, let's say the first time I go to the track, it doesn't run 8s because I don't think it will. But let's say it runs 9.7, 9.6. I am highly encouraged. I'm like, woo, I can work with this. If it runs 9.7, 9.6 first time out, and then I can tweak on some stuff and see where I can improve, I am more than happy if it runs a 9.7 or 9.6 first time out. If it runs quicker than that, holy shit. But I have a lot of experience with that chassis, stick shift. I put my skills up against any motherfucker that clutches in. And maybe you don't think so, but you motherfuckers haven't seen me drive. So I would absolutely love to get out there and run a low number, but be able to drive it home. If I can't drive it home or drive it on the weekend, it's useless. It's a useless fucking machine sitting there doing nothing. I'd be happy if my Coyote runs 8s on boost. 8s is fast. Don't let people get it twisted. 8s is freaking fast. 150 miles an hour in the quarter mile is absolutely booking it. Don't let all of these dickheads tell you that it's slow. I want a badass street car, whooping exotics, and being able to drive and get a burger on the way home. I have no intention of going above 800 horsepower because after that it gets expensive. Things break and the hobby stops being fun. Racing was so much more fun in the 90s, street and track. Nardi says by the time Turvey builds his cars, he'll be at the age where he's all over it. I've got a 351 Windsor to build, and I dropped my Fox body just looking for acceleration like the White Notch. Nothing more. That'll be plenty for me. The White Notch was an absolutely fun ride, but it's an 860, 60 to 130 car, 10.7 in the quarter, all motor, pump gas. No E85, no race gas. pump gas. 10.7 at 129 in the quarter. It just, for me to like it, I needed to like take it all apart, reseal it, not leak oil, put AC, and I'm like, nah, I could sell it right now. And unfortunately, the guy who bought it tried to like fix it. I think he ended up selling it too. Says I'm out helping my tuner today. He runs Cletus second round in Outlaw versus Extreme. That car, Benson's car, the Camaro, holy shit, that thing's fast. I know that Cletus is running damn near 270. You know, like it's really cooking. But the ET isn't there. And a lot of people don't seem to understand that. They see a mile an hour and they're like, whoa, what if he's already doing a 1.0? He's already doing a low 4 in the 8th. I think back halving the car, yes, that'll help in terms of winning a race. But I don't know if that car's chassis is there. Maybe I'm sure it's badass. But I don't know if it's there to like front half super hardcore to run a similar number to what that mile an hour shows. But the funny thing is, right, I was thinking about that. Who cruised that car, right? He shows up and just, it's his car, whatever. Maybe, who knows? I don't know the whole story. We don't know. But he shows up, button and go. But when it goes back to the pits, it's all a super professional crew that fucks with that car. Super professional people build, tune, vet that car. He gets in it, releases the button, and it's badass. Cars that they build, you see how they run. Till you run 10s at 150. But at least you drove home, Bryson Witt. Random question. At what power in S197 does the car make you feel like, holy shit, this bitch rolls out? I've been 169 in the quarter mile with my blue car when it had a Whipple through a 4.5 liter and the motor was good. It went 8.1, 169. It felt fast, but I stopped with the Willwoods. Boom. And I went, this thing never needs a parachute. That's the guy with the Camaro, right? Craig Walls? Yes, that Camaro fucking gets it. He's done for the season. Oh, done for the season? Look, man. Moab is a proven platform. Get yourself a, I don't know, really nice twin turbo something. Street car. Moab has done its job. You're 48. You know, it's time to get in that rocking chair. And because, look, I'm sure you got the money. I'm sure you got the means. But is the passion still there? And then you're like, who am I doing this for? Me or my team or my people or my tuner? Like I came to the realization that I was doing things for other people. And then I was like, what I want to do is just run 9s or 8s stick shift. Like that's all I want to do. In the 9s, we could say at one spot all night doing digs, rolls, suck. Wang have checking in. Catching the replay tomorrow. I feel you on the no title race car only shit. I'm looking to get a Fox race turnkey in the future, but if it doesn't have a title, I'm good on that. Already blew up a FFRE motor. So can we talk about that? So can we talk about the fact that, yeah, I almost called it 649s. I was telling you guys that car can probably go high 30s, the Grey Goose, but I said that they'll go 50s or 40s, and I said 220. They didn't quite get to 220. Jaybird says, yes, and it was blast hanging out with the guys. There was about 8 people here bouncing between my pit and Benson's pit, servicing cars in between rounds. Boy, that's tough. Because you have 2 potential 5-second cars, even though your car, you know, I don't know if it had the potential to go. I think, is its tongue hanging out, or do you think there's quote unquote more in it? Because from what I saw, you were shooting for like a 160 foot. You weren't really like getting after it with a 1.0. But is that because the track isn't there? I've noticed that this year that the track doesn't seem to be as good as previous years. And I don't know if it's because of the rain or the heat or what. But another thing I noticed is the amount of cars bouncing at the end of every run is pretty alarming. You see a car go down there and it runs, 220. Senior's car is settled. I don't know how Senior's car so professional. Senior's runs look so professional. Boo, 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 psh, ooh, pulls up. I'm like, boy. But then you see other cars, they do that, they're bouncing and slamming on the brake and then all over the place. And I'm like, is it the track or is it the car? I don't know. Joe crying when he saw that motor fucked up. So my car can go 6.0s, no doubt. Wow, badass. Yeah, so apparently, and I'll put up the Patreon. On Patreon, somebody put up a post, which I believe he deleted. If I'm not mistaken, he deleted the post showing the spark plugs on that car. And if I'm not mistaken, they look to be the wrong plugs. Because when you look at brisk 12s or brisk whatevers, you end up seeing that they're non-projected. And when you see these plugs, shout out to the people on Patreon, these trucks have like all the, just look at this plug, okay? Just look at how high, and look, apparently this guy didn't have a good time. But then look at this plug, right? You see how the tip, the port ceramic or whatever, it's not sticking out of the plug. This is like a brisk 12 YS or a 10. So you see how the ceramic is not projected out of the plug, and on the plugs that they were using, supposedly, and again, I'm not saying this is what caused it, but everyone I talked to, everyone said this is the wrong plug to use. Everyone that I know in the racing industry said that's the wrong plug. So remember when I said when they build it, it don't run that good. When someone else builds it, it runs really good. Now you see why I don't fuck with that camp at all. Like at all. At any point in time. Craig Walls competed. Will the Emery logo can't get any better than that. Time to re-IR. Wow, Nardi, did you just have a stroke in the middle of that fucking sentence? It's time to re-IR 6. Damn, your spell checker went nuts. He's the only one who has blown up an FFRE motor. And I think he deleted the post because it's like, what are you doing? Like, why does the audience need to know everything? Now you see why people don't fuck with that camp. They're okay, what is their product? Drama. Clout. Yep, guess we blew it up. Look. And then Joe's like, it didn't blow up because of my motor. So then you look at the spark plug and it's like, oh, it might be the wrong plug. I might have self-incriminated, and let me pull the post down. And it's like, uh-oh. Imagine putting the wrong plugs in. It was posted last night. They had brisk why, and instead Alex explained it to me like I'm Corky. I wish that crew would just leave Coyotes alone and stick with LS junk. The problem is this. When you look at John Lund, when you look at Brett, when you look at some of these Coyotes that are absolutely flying, it's hard to like ignore that. You're like, damn, this 5-liter Coyote is getting after it. What's in it? Well, it's just an FFRE motor, stage 3, good rods, manly rods, good stuff, 350 heads, ported, da-da-da-da. Whoa, we'll put that in my car. Whoa. Who's tuning it? What plugs are you using? So I would think that if you are a very known person, look, truth be told, I don't expect anyone to want to rep my shit because I'm so public. And when something goes wrong, and if I've been done wrong, I will probably, air out dirty laundry. But if I have a good relationship with you and something goes wrong, I'm gonna hit you up first. I'm gonna say, hey man, this happened. As a matter of fact, that's what I did with the motor, with the GT500 motor. I hit up the guy first, and I started going, hey, I'm having this issue. It's not making any boost. Nothing to do with me. When I put your motor in my car with the same shit I had before in the same tune that made 1100, it didn't make 1 pound of boost with your motor. Why is that? Oh, well, maybe something happened that had nothing to do with me. The motor went over there, came back, I put it in. By the way, it had a leaky water pump. You kinked the O-ring on the water pump. Whatever, I just put the oil you wanted me to put in, broke it in the way you wanted me to break it in. Okay, now it doesn't make any fucking boost. And then the excuses started. And I went, stop. Take him out of the equation. Because he's like, well, send it back. I don't trust you. because of what you've done in the past and what you did and the way you acted here. So, okay, I'm going to send the heads off over here, cost me some money. Send the motor off over here, cost me some money. Both places said, this build is shit. And I went, fix it. They fixed it. This guy took it apart, recommended what to do in the future. And then I said, se acabó el party. So I understand why someone like a Cletus with a Coyote, if you are going to provide someone that popular a engine, you should have 100% control of that situation. I was actually thinking about that last night. I'm like, wait a minute. Who is tuning the Camaro? Who is building the Camaro? Who has their hands on the Camaro? Is it them or is it a complete different crew? Because from what I can tell, it's being built by somebody else. It's being tuned by somebody else. It's being maintained by somebody else. Yeah, for racing high horsepower stuff like that, you don't want a projected tip. Wrong spark plug, they could fuck up a wet dream. He already deleted because he knew FFRE would get dragged and the Amri was going to prepare for war. The Amri is not going to defend FFRE. FFRE can stand on themselves, on their own, just because of Brett and John. Oh, and by the way, there's a bunch of grudge cars you don't even know about. That have run stupid numbers and generally, are quiet. And if shit goes wrong, but you can lean on those. It goes, my motor hadn't had those issues. And I run 380s, 360s, 370s. If you had an issue with that motor, it's on you. So it all depends on who's maintaining it, what parts are going in it, all that stuff. FFRI needs to leave the Cleater crew alone, man. It's a dead-end road. No, you don't understand. I'm not going to get into it because it's bigger than you think. Because it's none of my business. Let's be honest. Shit, none of my business. And I bet James is going to talk shit on the Coyote, acting like it's at fault. Retard. Look, James, we all know it's just a Coyote hater. And whatever. True. Someone threw a plug at James. Someone threw a plug at James. True. Someone threw a plug at James in the interview. Don't know what you're talking about. People know it's a yee issue, not the platform. You saw that GT3 RS, GTD ZR1. We're going to dyno. No, stay on topic. He doesn't watch Savage Geese. It's just a spick. I don't. Cleater still can't take the responsibility of his fans sending death threats to Granis. I'm good on that. Reflex. I don't think he should take responsibility. I think he should. I don't think he should. I don't give a fuck anymore. I don't care. I expect the worst. Red Hat Mafia tunes the Camaro. Okay, Minibag. So what does that mean? Who maintains the Camaro? Meaning, okay. Pulls the chute. From then on, who fucks with it? You trusted a ginger. They don't have souls, you know. Junior's a ginger. Well, or is he a redhead? I don't know. What's the difference? I know he doesn't, but that dyno number is insane for a factory car. The most relevant part of the video. But it's just a spit. We've known the ZR1 is badass on this channel. We've talked about this. Nobody wanted to go heads up with the ZR1 on the U-Drags show. And the ZR1 posted the quickest time for a gas vehicle on the U-Drags. So that tells you everything you need to know about the ZR1 versus the GTD. That is over. That was over before. Like, it's done, over, dead subject. It does not matter. The GTD is second to a production vehicle. A production vehicle that they build in what is it? Oh my God, I blank. What the fuck? Bowling Green, Kentucky. It's all about money at the end of the story. They mess with the cleatards. Look, one day, not today, not tomorrow, not next month, you will realize that being with that camp will eventually damage your credibility, your business, your livelihood. Maybe people need it to happen to them to believe it. I don't need it to happen to me to believe it. At this age, When I see someone act a little sideways, which would happen with my motor, I went, I'm not giving you a second shot of fucking me over. I've done that in the past. Oh, really? You're going to take care of me? Here you go. So what is the motivation to fix a motor the second time better than you got paid for the first time? There is no motivation. You're going to throw old bearings in it. You're going to be, this is good enough. You're going to just stuff it back together. Say it's not your fault. I'm sorry. Motor went away, went to you, came back, didn't work. I'm not going to send you the motor again. Shame on. Fool me once. Shame on you. You can't fool me again. Same dudes. I'm a ginger. Right. Okay. So, Mini Bad Madman. Right. I don't know. This is what Mini Bad Madman said. Red Hat Mafia tunes it, maintains it. The guy gets in it, releases a button. It goes straight, pulled off. And then those same guys, Red Hat Mafia, take it, pull plugs, do the vetting. Why is it running so good? Like, hello, why is the Grey Goose running so good? Right? You could see right then and there that I am inconsequential to the racing program at Lund Racing because we proved it. They went quicker and they won events without me. Perfect. I would have hated if they just had bad luck after bad luck after bad luck. And, we really need you here, Alex. You don't need me. I'm a net negative to a racing program. Why? Because I'm like, fuck this. This sucks. Let's go home. I want to be on the couch chilling. And driven by an engineer. Driven by an engineer? Yes, driven by an engineer too, exactly. Same guys, it's his sons, it's a family type program, Red Hat Mafia. There you go. So, Red Hat Mafia tunes it, Red Hat Mafia maintains it. The driver at the end of the day, reaction time is all that matters because he doesn't determine the boost. He doesn't determine when boost comes on. That's all the tuner. So the car's running a great number and you could make the case that the car's not even owned by Homeboy. They're like, we're going to build a car with your blessing. We want to show everyone what we can do here. Would you be willing to pilot the car? Oh, sure. What do you need from me? Brakes, catch cans, couple things. But this is going to be our thing, but publicly, you can say it's yours, whatever. Who gives a shit? And you can take all the credit in the world, but we want to show you what we can build here. And I think that's actually very smart because if you could say, look, anyone can get in this car, bump, release, because we can build you such a badass turnkey car that we could just deliver you a badass car. Obviously, you got to pay for the support if you want to go racing at this level. I think that's actually extremely smart. That's extremely smart to say to somebody, look, we just need you to pilot it because you have a platform. And we're going to show everyone what we can do with this platform. That is insanely smart. And I think if I was to guess, and I'm not saying this is the case, that's probably more along the lines of what's happening. You fool can't get fooled again. We never heard anything after the GTD got caught with a Whipple at the ring. The rotor's probably locked up mid-track. Stop it. Because he ain't behind the keyboard. That crew's not even a fan of the Coyote. So what makes you think they're going to give it the needed attention to detail? Stick an LS in that fucking Oreo piece of shit. Stick an LS, stick a Steve Morris big block in there, stick anything in there. Get the fuck away from my Coyote. Get the fuck away from the platform that I love dearly. Because all you're doing is giving it a bad name. Get it out of there. Get out of there. Let the people who are passionate about Coyote fuck with Coyote. Leave the people that are casual fans of the Coyote out of it because all it's going to do, and the platform's huge. So everyone's going to go, oh my God, see? You should have just shoved the Texas speed motor in it. I guarantee if you go to the comments, it's like, you should have just left the Texas speed motor in there, man. They're just better. These Coyotes are junk, more chains and brains. Ford boys drool. Chevy guys rule. Leave these casuals out of that. Gatekeep the Coyote. Fuck am I talking about? Do you fuck with Black Rifle Company coffee? Very good coffee. I've had it before. It's very good. They're getting the thing to run 260 and Cleater was scared to go that fast. No, that's good. Look, I think that's a very smart way of doing it. Showcase what you can do. Have a guy with a big platform drive it and be good. It could go faster with a jockey wearing a giraffe mask. Black Rifle coffee hits my stomach too hard. Never again. Then you probably need like a mushroom-based coffee. Shout out to Motion for making Brett's car run like it does. See, I didn't know this, but I think he's an employee of Motion. I still don't fuck with Motion. Go fuck who works there. Their half owner wanted to come at me. Game on, bitch. Game on. Off topic. What about Motion catch can help Brett get into the fives? Or the cam covers. LS Fabricator is the only Coyote fan of that crew. Did LS Fabricator? Or did you mean is Fabric? Did you mean Ty? Ty, the Ranger guy? That car, wow, that Care would go faster with Bambera in it than Cletus. He's lighter. He's just a driver. The Cletus camp and Coyotes is like motherfuckers who can't drive talking about what a stick car can and can't do. I think you should get... Didn't we talk about this on the show? Didn't we say don't fuck with them? Not because I'm jealous, because they're not going to give it the proper treatment. John gives the Coyote the proper treatment. Junior gives the Coyote the proper treatment. Jake gives the Coyote the proper treatment. Brett gives the Coyote the proper treatment. Everyone else is just a casual. Just a casual. And I really wish No Time Racing didn't exist. Because there are such really fast no time guys. But the thing is about no time is, the rules are out the window. No time is no time. So it's like your car could weigh 2,300 pounds. Your car could have 80 pounds of boost, a billet motor, M1, twin 100s. It does not matter. No rules. So we should actually maybe make, and when you run, Warriors, whatever versus modified, Renegade versus modified, whatever, there are rules. So you have to make my car heavy. So then, that time doesn't seem super impressive. But when you have NT guys running like 360s with a Coyote in it, it shows you the potential of what the car can do when the rules are kind of loosened up a little bit. But the fact that the Lunds are doing it with the 6R80, to me, is wildly impressive. Wildly impressive. So shout out to Jake. Shout out to Lund for getting that car going. 4-link and 200 pounds lighter would be pretty badass in that car. Because it'll carry you for the next couple of years. And then you can run the Billy badass shit. Not that you can't now. You know what I'm saying? If they were to put an LS in it, it's not going to be tuned by them. It'll be tuned by some dude who tuned, the same dude tuned. Exactly. Again, there's nothing wrong with having the best tune your car. Like if I'm going to run a 6-second car, I'm not tuning it. No, I don't. I just want to drive it. Right? I'd contract someone out to do it. 7s, I could do. 7s, I could do. 7s carbureted, I can do. 6s, that requires, and again, not stock computer, I'm talking Motec. I'm not running a car 6 seconds in the quarter on a fucking stock computer. Nothing wrong with a stock computer. It's just, now you could just kind of not copy paste, but you can have less issues with a standalone racing. Street car shit? Nah, stock computer, you're good. 7s, we're good. All those boxes. At least the Lunds, Brett, Mexicans are still proving the Coyotes' worth and offsetting the negative press it gets from the Cletus. Yeah, no, you don't understand. You don't understand. If you have 4 million people seeing you struggle with an engine, they're never going to say, what's the common denominator with all these things blowing up? And then you got to look at that. If you are involved in a lot of things going wrong, like if everything is going wrong in your life, you might want to look at yourself. Just saying. Flow Racing broadcast was pretty decent this time, plenty of camera angles. Okay. They're trying. You can see that Flow Racing has drone shots. Wonderful. This big camera on like a stand. Wonderful. But I've seen so many times in the middle of a pass, they go to commercial. In the middle of a fucking pass. Okay, he's a pre-stage Jeep. They're off and, hi, how you doing? I'd like to talk to you about erectile dysfunction. I'm like, so what's going to happen? Another streaming service is going to go in there and start saying, America, Eagle, because y'all stupid. Because y'all stupid. You see an American flag, you immediately support it. I'm like, sometimes you might want to look at what's, under all that bullshit before you support it. I'm just saying. The motion steering wheel drove that thing into the fives. Yeah, I had to literally block people because they're just like sharing stupidity. I'm like, I gotta block you. Why can't they get the Coyote to run? Brett is on the team and doesn't. Why can't get the Coyote to run? Brett is on the team and doesn't help. Look, stop it. Just because certain people work at a certain company does not automatically mean he's going to give up his secrets and do that. That's crazy talk. Because he was fucking with, look, that car was running 630s, 650s, 640s before he ever went to work with the other place. Obviously, he's got to take care of himself. I'm not going to criticize him. He's doing fine. But that program is Job, and Brett. In my opinion, and his friend, I forget his name. I always forget his name. He's as integral to that part, to the progress of that vehicle than anybody else. Jim, Brett, Joe, and Job. That's the team. His fans don't have a brain. They do it even when you paid for it. Yes, of course. Dropping a like from the gym. Second day back in 3 years. We'll catch a replay. Good morning, fam. Theo Alex. Freedom plus brother sarcasm. Yes. Stop. I get it. You're American. I understand. But just because you say that, and this is what they'll do. You're like, yeah, I don't support them. You're like, oh, you don't like America? No, I love America. I love America so much, I want motherfuckers like that out of it. TSP sucks, but half of the motors Cleatard blew up probably wasn't their fault. Brad is probably too busy with his own car. Yeah, he's got his own thing going on. Look, it's difficult to run a car at that level. And again, Craig is now realizing that. Look at what's happening right now. I guarantee the Camaro, Benson, is there a T in there? I'm sorry. I apologize. There are 4 cars or 5 cars at that track, and I hear Mark Benson power, and I'm like, who? What? Isn't that Craig Wallace's dude? And then they run stupid numbers. And I'm like, okay, he obviously is a badass engine builder and, race car guy in general. That event is perfect for him. That event is absolutely perfect for someone like that. So I've never heard of the guy, but that doesn't mean that because I've never heard of him, he's not popular in that world. Obviously he is. Guy's running 260 miles an hour in the quarter, right? So that racing is specific to racers. So I understand racers fucking with that race heavy. I am in a business that we fuck with slow guys compared to that. So when I look at SEMA stuff, I go, that makes more sense to me because it's more in line. Look, the other video I released the other day of measuring boost with an N-gauge, right? I showed you guys that an old school Boost Plus box from Lund Racing built 10 years ago. That's right, 10 years ago. I personally built 350 of those fucking things because they had to fill orders in my apartment with a beach chair, just hammering these things away because they had to fill orders, right? And then the N-gauge analogued in, and now you can log boost on your data logger, where a lot of people still to this day still don't know that you could do that. So they're looking for alternate methods and all this bullshit. And I'm like, this is old tech, right? This is old tech. So someone like me, if I wanted to, let's say, grow that business, I'd go to SEMA and maybe PRI, and I'd look around with this thing, and I'd go, now, see, the problem is you give it to someone, they'll steal it. And that's the problem with this industry. If you have a really good idea, you can do one of two things. Have it mass produced and potentially someone stealing it from you unless you have a patent on it, or hiding it and never have it see the light of day because for fear that people will steal it. That's because they're going to steal it. Jim is a good dude. A world that's okay. Alex, in the TV world, that's a cliffhanger when the Fonzos jump in that shark and then cut to the commercials. No, not in the middle of a run. Yeah, Jim's a good dude. 40 a month and still get ads. Fuck that. I could even say, hey, I wouldn't use that plug. It's not up to him, 5-0 Stallion. 5-0 Stallion. They've run Coyotes before. They've run Coyotes before. So they've been 6s before. Were they going 6s with that plug? Who tuned and set up Brett's suspension? Probably Jim or Brett. Beats here in a 1-1 sounds legit. Yeah, they will copy that shit quick. Exactly. They will copy that so freaking fast. All late and wrong, but hello, Amory. So at the end of the day, I would rather go to SEMA, grow in this business, to see if I can see if there's anyone with some kind of hey, I have this device. Why hasn't someone copied this yet? Why hasn't someone copied this shit? How come no one's copied this shit yet? There is a massive market for something like that. I'm not playing down the LRX. I'm not playing down the SCT. I'm not playing down HP tuners. I am just saying, you saw the video that I posted yesterday, and you're like, damn, I wish I had a device that was that quick. Damn, I wish I had a device that I could just plug in the back and da-da-da-da-da. So I wish that got more attention. Not to say that the people aren't trying out there. Maybe try harder. Spatter was the Fox Body go-to guy back in the day. I just got to make them sign an NDA. Yeah, no, nowadays everyone steals everything. Think about it. Someone left Lund, and after that person left Lund, got hit by the EPA. They went over to work for a diesel company. When he left that company, they got hit by the EPA. Then all of a sudden, they have their own device. It just happens to be coincidental. There are no coincidences. There's no such thing as a coincidence in this industry. It is calculated. It is on purpose. This industry is full of fucking thieves. Am I going to change it? No. But I want to make as much money in it as possible until I've had enough. I'm sure the Ford Performance booth at SEMA was Whipple, Whipple, Whipple. And a 300 horsepower Maverick. Whoa! A 300... Wait a minute. You're telling me there's a 300 horsepower Maverick you guys are coming out with? I can't wait for that thing to come out. Kang stole Tony Stark's time travel invention. Only a few nerds will get that one. Yeah. Kang. Wasn't it that bitch? Depends on the movie. Unless you're actually one of those guys that goes, the comic book is more specific. The Edge CTS, you're able to add a bunch of parameters for data logging. They have add one using the EAS stuff. It's for diesel trucks, though. Yeah, so it's irrelevant. The Coyote market can be so much better. The Coyote market can be phenomenal. PCM Tech was a slight peek into that, but the problem with PCM Tech is the price. And what you get for it. I don't know. I think this Coyote market is severely limited because of personalities, because of, let's be honest, ego and lack of trust. People have again, I'm sure LS markets are the same way. I'm sure BMW markets are the same way. And I'm sure Dodge markets are the same way. But we don't care about those markets. Wow, that reset my hearing. Jesus Christ. That reset my... Holy shit. It was like a hiss and it went away. 95% sure I'm not. It's a coincidence. Exactly. Little off topic. But if you buy a used N-Gauge, can it be set up for a different car or is it locked to the original car? Okay, so if you buy an N-Gauge and it's an HP Tuners N-Gauge and it was ever married to a car, HP Tuners, it is useless to be used on any other vehicle. If you have a Lund Racing N-Gauge that was originally a Lund Racing N-Gauge, you have about 3 unlocks before it becomes useless. So you go to the tuning status screen and you check the index level. And if the index level is under 2, you should be okay. If it's 3, I think you're SOL. If it was a converted HP Tuners N-Gauge to Lund, it is married to one vehicle only. Why? The people who are responsible for making the firmware are out of business, not because they were not selling product, because the government shut them down. And by the way, the guy that got put in jail because he was doing diesel delete stuff and Trump pardoned him, I feel a little way about that. If you were deleting diesels while it was illegal to do so, speaking of Ford performance, they could have vetted twin turbos on the Coyote. Ford can do so much. A channel on YouTube called Earth is Home has been restreaming the WCF broadcast. It's on the live tab on this channel. Nice. The price to entry is different between diesel and the car field. Diesel guys are already aware that they're going to pay 2 to 3 times more to rip off, delete, DPF, and tune. What's more likely? A motor being more... Okay, Corden 35 says, what's more likely? A motor being more efficient than normal? Motor being down on compression? Or slipping clutch showing less load than normal on a log? Stock clutch. So that's what I'm thinking. What's more likely? A motor being more efficient than normal? Motor being down on compression? Or slipping clutch? Jesus Christ, you can vet a slipping clutch really easily. What issues are you having specifically? It was wild. I thought it was odd that the guy went to jail, first of all, for deleting diesel stuff. Then he got pardoned. Is anyone still in contact with Slagle? Slagle is probably like he got to the point where they said, if you're near a computer, you gotta, you can go to jail. So he's probably just like doing a job somewhere he hates, but he's not in jail, so that's good. Off topic deal. What was your experience with the Mantic clutch since I put one in that had issues and went out after 10,000 miles? I'm wanting to switch to McLeod, but I don't know. Gabriel, I have never had an issue with the Mantic clutch. The Mantic clutch, as long as it's installed properly, is not an issue. 90% of the issues with Mantic clutches are the installs. I'm not saying you installed it badly, but what I'm saying is, personally, on a personal level, I, with Donnie, my Donnie, we installed the Mantic clutch on the black car, and I drove it for like 2 years on that clutch. Raced it many times. No issue. My N-gauge took a crap. Can you tell me who fixes them? Nobody. So what you could do if you have like a bad screen is you can find any other N-gauge just for parts. So if I were you, if you really like your N-gauge, your Lund Racing N-gauge, or HP Tuners N-gauge, buy as many as you can just for parts, for boards, for screens, for bezels, for the rear stuff. Like I'm going to block the number, but you got to make sure you have one of these that have the inputs on the side. See that the little prongs on the side? You want those, and both of these are those, because these are the badass ones. These are the ones you can input ZT2 boxes. You can input boost boxes. If I'm not mistaken, the boost box also has a way of analoging in fuel pressure. So I might do that on the Coyote just to have it. The industry's full of thieves. Yeah, they would disagree. Look, I've experienced personally 4 or 5 tuners that steal your favorite tuner. Name your favorite Coyote tuner right now. I can find a file that was given to me that is a direct copy, except for injectors, MAF, and a couple of shift schedule tweaks, because there are things in the background that they don't have access to that Lund does, that are direct copies of Lund's shit. They either ripped it or they got provided that tune. And that's why I think it's not secure. I don't think most Coyote tunes are secure. And if you have a business model of keeping them insecure, keeping them open, not locking the files, I think that lends itself to poaching and stealing. Because what do you need to become a Coyote tuner nowadays? Let's say you're a Coyote tuner. You need probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 files, 10 files. 10 files, right? 10 files. 11 to 14 NA, auto manual. So 2 files. Boosted, maybe. Okay, so 11 to 14 NA, auto manual. Boosted, so blower and turbo. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 per generation. There are 4 generations. Well, let's say 3. Let's say 12 files. You can make $350,000 a year if you market it properly. So let's say you have the ability to afford vetted files. Man, I'll give you whatever for these 12 files. I will give you $50,000 for 12 vetted files. And you can make $300,000 a year. And along the way, you'll learn stuff because you're adjusting, you're looking, that, oh, okay. You don't think that happens in this fucking industry? You don't think people hold files for like that specific reason? Bro, if I give you this file, you can tune every 15 to 17 turbo car and Whipple car. Here you go. How much? That'd be $20,000. That's crazy. Well, put it on your credit card. I don't care because you can make 100. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I ain't stupid. I know how it works out there. Stop it. Dude with sunglasses inside would disagree about thieves. Exactly. If you need a spot, Alex, hit me up. Big thanks, Eric. I keep my Engage locked away. I only pull it out when I need to change a tune or data log. I mean, if they will steal credits, why wouldn't they steal the tune? Agreed. Look, forget credits. How about a header? Yeah. Stealing is inherent. When someone steals, they also gamble. They also lie. It's just part of nature of that person. How to convince my boss to taste the Coyote tuning at least once. I don't know what you're saying. I have no idea what you're saying. Where do I send 51K? Not only did that happen in the industry, but in West Palm Beach for sure. Have you checked up on Dakota Brandon since they've left to see how they're doing? Love Dakota. And this is the harsh reality of tuning and work. Let me ask you a question, Reflex. What was your last job? And in that last job, did you have coworkers that you were tight with? And then when you left that job, did you maintain relationships with those coworkers? I would say no. They moved away. Like, I think Brandon is still in Florida somewhere. Dakota went to Pennsylvania. God knows why. Holy shit. Blown away by that. But good luck to them. Thank you so much. Says great show. So let's wrap it up today. So today we talked about not being, you can't say that 6R80 is a handicap anymore. Oh, I got a 6R80 transmission. Not after this weekend. After this weekend, running 420s in the eighth, 640s in the quarter, 219 miles an hour. I get it. There's saucy stuff in there. You understand that 6R80 is a one of one. But what they've learned with what they've done with that transmission is what it can lead to in the future, like a strengthened case, similar to what happened to the Turbo 400. The Turbo 400 came in stock, I don't know, trucks. I don't know what Turbo 400s came in stock. And eventually they ran out of cases, or they saw cases blow up when you were really pushing big power. And then someone said, well, we need to build a Billy Badass case. Even though the Lund Racing case is a stock case, I think eventually the popularity of the transmission, if it becomes like, look, Motec right now, you can get Motec firmware and run Billy Badass 6R80 stuff, plain and simple. So if you're racing at the limit, or if you're at OD classes or drag and drives, and you want to have a factory overdrive transmission and not have to worry about a gear vendor's overdrive or anything like that, and still have the capability of supporting 2,000 plus horsepower on a transmission, the 6R80 is your huckleberry. And I think eventually someone's going to make a strengthened case to make it even better, just like the 400 did. Because when the 400 was stock shit, and then they went to a strengthened case, different bell housing bolt patterns, dump valves out the ass, badass valve bodies, this, that, pumps, titanium converters or adamantium converters. Because right now the Lunds are racing on a Pro Torque, like an EV1 style 6R80 converter. All right, everything there is kind of one of one. So once people start going, I want some of that sauce, what do we need to do to get it happening? I think that'll spur on some of the advancements in the 6R80 world, if they want that. Like, I don't even know if they want that. I don't even know if the Lunds care about that. But as a business person, I would hope someone like maybe Jake would be like, I want to sell 1,000 of these. I want to sell 2,000 of these. I want to build them here, badass case, and then ship you a transmission. And then from then on, you can have Motec firmware, dump valves, this and that, all the saucy shit we did to it. You can have a converter company work with you and your racing program to have drag and drive or overdrive class specific transmission and hardware to, you know, have it so you don't have to get gear vendors and crazy overdrives and all that stuff. Can you explain the hate for Avid? Bro, you need to get the Patreon, $15 a month. We'll fill you in. There's one guy I focused for my last company, but you're right. Take care, Emery. Happy Sunday. The Lunds don't have a 6R80, though. Exactly. Great show, everyone. Enjoy your Sunday. The 4R200 isn't a 6R80. And Jay Swish, get an Element 115 converter. Exactly. All right, guys. Be on the lookout for the finals tonight. I think there's some more racing on Flow Racing. I'm done. The Lunds are done. I'm done. I'm going to enjoy my life and touch some grass. I suggest you do, too. Or you can watch Craig Walls' engine builder, Benston race cleat, and we'll see what happens there. Cleat's car seems to be really fast, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes down. Have a good rest of your Sunday. I'll see you guys on Tuesday. And again, Monday, I am going to make the poll live for the giveaway, the blower giveaway. So you'll have 5 cars to choose from. If there is a tie after a week, we will do a playoff situation and get a blower given away to one of the Amory GT500 members. See you guys later. Bye.